Hello everyone, and welcome back to NMZ channel. In this video I'm going to start the installation of the SD-WAN devices. If you follow us in the channel, you saw that in the last two videos I just designed this simple SD-WAN network here, and also install the certificate authority rule in the Windows server here and enable remote desktop for that, and also some configuration in the management laptop to access the vManage and so on. In this video I'm going to start the vManage, actually these three devices, and try to start the first configuration for these devices to be able to access this web GUI interface from the vManage in the management laptop. For that, let's right click, and I'm going to wipe these devices. Before wiping, let me show you that we are going to use the image 20.7.1, the latest version of the vManage image, and from the time that I'm recording this video, and I'm going to change this RAM. I just changed this RAM. It was 16 GB and I changed that to 24 GB. This helps us to make this process faster, and else everything is okay. We have to Ethernet, we don't need anything more, and the processor, everything is okay. And let's first wipe this, and after wipe it, we can start our vManage. And also let me show you this the vBond also. This is also 20.7.1, and make sure that you use the same version for all this controller and also for the VH devices, because actually if you use different version, I have other version also here, but I will not be able to add the older version to the new version of vManage. Everything in vBond is okay, and let's start the vBond also. And for the vSmart, if I check it here, the same version, and I'm going to wipe that also and start it. I'm not going to start any other devices here because it will take some time. It takes a lot of process of my PC, and I want to start them one by one. When one is finished and the process is done, then I can start another one. But here I need to actually run this internet switch here. Actually it's a simple switch, and we have 4 different VLAN in this VLAN 100. These ports are in the VLAN 100, and these ports are in VLAN 10, and this one port is in VLAN 20, and this one port is VLAN 30, and all of them has its IP address. For all of them is 1 as a gateway. We need actually to have this switch here. We're just simulating this as an internet, and as long as we be able to ping from these devices from each other, and also from the edges to these devices, then everything is okay, and we can configure our network. For that, it's a layer 3 switch, and interfaces as its own IP addresses, and when I try to ping from this to any of these devices, it will be succeed because it is directly connected interfaces in the internet switch. Let's see this the configuration of this one to make sure that everything is okay here. Show IP interface brief, and no, unfortunately we don't have any configuration in this switch. It's already wiped. Let's configure the switch for access to simulating as a internet. Okay, first let me change the host name to internet, and let me create some VLAN 100, 10, 20 and 30, and let's create some interface VLAN interfaces. Interface VLAN 100, and the IP address is 1.1.100.1 with 24-bit mask. Okay, and let's no shut it. Let's go to interface VLAN 10 and IP address for that. You can see here 1.1.10.1, again 24-bit mask, and no shutdown. Interface VLAN 20, IP address 1.1.20.1, 24-bit mask, and no shutdown. And interface VLAN 30 and IP address 1.1.30.1 with 24-bit mask here, and no shutdown. And now do show IP interface brief. You can see that we have this three VLAN interfaces here, but they are down because we didn't assign any interfaces to these VLANs. Let's assign these interfaces to relevant VLAN. Here I'm going to go to the range. Interface range E0 by 0 to 2 and E1 by 3. Switchboard access VLAN 100, and interface range E1 by 0 to 1. Switchboard access VLAN 10 here, and interface is 0 by 3. Switchboard access VLAN 20, and interface E1 by 2. This interface, and switchboard access VLAN 30. Now our VLAN's interfaces is assigned to the VLAN, and now the VLAN is going to be up one by one. Okay, and one thing more that I need to tell you, I already speak about that in other videos in this channel. The main thing about this layer 3 switch, this is the iron switch, iron image, and if you have a layer 3 switch here and you want to pass traffic actually through this, for example, if I try to ping from this to vBond, I will be able to ping my gateway from here, and also I will be able to ping the gateway of this controller, but I will not be able to ping from this to vBond, vManage, or vSmart, and that is because of the IPsec in this switch. IPsec, you know about that, it's a Cisco I can say protocol, and it's just receiving the route, encrypt that and send it, but this IPsec is not working actually in the virtual switches, and because of that, when the IPsec is be enabled in this switch, it will not pass traffic and pass traffic through the switch. It will the traffic that is terminated in the switch is okay, but if you try to pass it from the switch, and it will just drop the packet, and because of that I'm going to turn off the IPsec, no IPsec. And let me write this. Okay, and internet switch is ready now, and let's close this. I don't need that anymore, and vSmart is not started yet. Let's see if there is any problem. Edit it. It is, the image is okay. Let's wipe it and start. Okay, the device is started now, and next let's go to the vManage actually, and try to log in and do the first configuration of this this important device actually. The username admin and the password is admin by default. When you just install this without any configuration, and then it will force us to assign an IP address for that. Assign a password for that. Okay, after assigning the password, then it will again force us to select one of this persona. This compute and data, we are going to use this one because this is the first vManage in this network, and it should be compute and data persona. It's actually what is different between this. If we select any of this option, everyone will give us different options inside the vManage. For example, compute and data, it will provide us the monitoring, provide us the control, and also we can add other devices in this network. But if we select, for example, data and compute, everyone has a different options. If you want to see what the information what is different between this, you can just search about that in the Cisco website. It will in the Cisco website everything is clearly discussed there. Okay, let's select option 1, and once you just select an option for that and click on yes, then you will not be able to change this. Actually, you need to again wipe it and boot it again to change this persona. Next, we need to select 100 GB hard disk for this, and it is VDB and option 1. I'm going to select that, and it will ask me for formatting. Yes. Okay, it takes some time to format this and boot up the image here, and let's wait for that. Okay, the booting process of this vManage will take some time, and in meantime we can go to our vBond and vSmart and try to configure these devices also. Let's go to vBond, and the vBond actually it's much easier than vManage because it doesn't need any extra configuration. For that one also, the username admin and the password admin, and in the first login we need to change the password. Okay, after that actually vH is ready. It's right vH. It's actually vBond, but the vH and vBond image is same, and because of that it's by default named vH, and we can change this name to vBond. Okay, for configuration, let's first go to the conf-t. It's like switch configure terminal, and then let's go to the system. In the system, let's change the host name to vBond, and then you can see that when I change this host name to the vBond, it doesn't change anything here. It's because of the SD-WAN needs to be committed at the end. When we finish our configuration, we need to commit this command actually here. And what else we need to configure here in the system? Actually, the 4 very important and necessary options that is required to be configured here. Else our device will not be part of the VLAN of the SD-WAN domain. Okay, this for configuration is first we need to introduce the vBond. For that, vBond, the vBond IP address, actually the IP address is the IP address of these interfaces that we are going to configure. Here is 1.1.100.12, and because this is the vBond himself, we need to give the option local here, and this will tell this device that the vBond is himself. Next, we need to assign a site ID for that. This is necessary. And next, we need to assign a system IP. This system IP actually is just a 32-bit IP and 32-bit number, and it can be any IP address, doesn't matter, but we just select some IP addresses here to actually when we in the monitoring, when we see this, and then we will be easily identify that which device that we are seeing. For that, let me put this 1.100.100.12. After system IP, we need to assign our organization name. Organization name, I'm going to use NIP here because I have actually some licenses for my VH cloud here, and the name of them is the NIP, and if I use any other name here, it will not accept my license. Also, I'm going to give a link of this license that I have, and you can download that, and you can practice this lab at home. And before, actually I just created this license in the Cisco website for free. It was free before, but nowadays you need to have a system contract with the Cisco to provide you this license. Okay, this is the four necessary. Actually, it must be in the all. Actually, not only this controller, even in this VH devices, this information should be added. And then I'm going to set the clock time zone to make sure that my clock is synchronized with the certificate server. And I'm in the America, and I'm using the Bahia. Bahia is this -3 GMT to it's the same with the Windows server. Actually, I was not able to find Brasilia here, and because of that I'm using the Bahia. Okay, now the system configuration is finished. Let's commit this. Now after commit, you can see that the name of the host name actually is changed. It means, and also it gives me the command that the commit completed, it means that there is no error in this command that we write here. Next, let's go to the interfaces and try to configure the interfaces here. If you see do show run, let me show you. Only I'm going to show you in this device, not in all of them. You can see that we have VPN 0 here and VPN 512. The VPN 0 is used for the tunnel interface, and we can select option between the IPsec and GRE. And this tunnel interface actually creating a secure tunnel between these devices, between these all devices in SD-WAN. And VPN 0 is always used for the data actually. Here it's control because they are the controller devices, but in the VH devices, this VPN 0 and gigabit 00 will be used for the data, to transfer data from one side to another side. And this VPN 512, it's always used for the management. We are free to make any VPN number, it doesn't matter, and also we are able to assign different color on that to identify this, and also the functionality of that to be data or to be management interface. But let's use this default interface here with the default VPN and interface G00 for our first interface and control interface for vBond. I'm going to this, and first of all I'm going to remove the tunnel interface here because when I try to install the certificate in this, when I try to add this vBond to in the vManage, it will not add it because of some services is not enabled here. You can see that some services is allowed, like ICMP, DNS, DHCP, and some services is not allowed, for example SSHD and netconf. We can remove this tunnel interface, or we can allow this netconf to be able to add this vBond to vManage. I'm just going to remove this tunnel interface first to remove any conflict during adding these devices to the vManage. Okay, let's set the IP address for that. IP address 1.1.100.12, and with 24-bit mask. It doesn't need a mask, subnet mask to write the subnet mask. We can just use a slash for that, and then let's no shutdown. Don't forget that, because by default is it's no shutdown already, but in some I think in the vSmart is shut down. We need to turn it on. And let's exit from this, and don't forget to add a gateway for this. The gateway we can this in the VPN, not in the interface. We are going to add this IP route, and as a default route here from 1.1.100.1, the gateway that we configured before in the switch. Okay. Now our vBond is ready. Now we will be able to add this in the vManage. Let's commit this information also. For committing, we need to get out from this VPN and commit it here, or we can click on Control and Z, and then it will ask us that there is some changes and it's not committed. If you want to commit that, just click on yes, type yes. Okay, now the commit is completed, and if I see the configuration here, you can see first the system configuration, the name, the host name, IP address, site ID, organization name, clock, and vBond. And also if we go to the VPN, you can see that we have VPN 0 interface, and this time we don't have any tunnel interface here, and there is no configuration for tunnel interface. After we add this to vManage, then we will turn on the tunnel interface here. And also for management, in this lab I don't need to use any management interface here, because I'm going to access the vManage here and add all these devices from the VPN 0. And one thing more from the management, we can use this port actually for installing the certificate, to uploading the certificate to these devices, vBond and vSmart, using the any TFTP-S application. For example, WinSCP, we can use the WinSCP and connect WinSCP using this management port, and then upload our license to this to install. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to create this license in the vBond, not now, but when we get to the licensing, when we get to the installation of the certificate. Okay, now our vBond is ready. Let's check our vManage if everything is ready here. I believe it's still booting. Let's wait for that. It takes a long time to be ready. Because of that, let's go to vSmart and configure our vSmart, and then we'll come back here and go for the vManage. Again, admin and admin by default, and let's change the password here. Okay, we are in the command of the vSmart. Let's go to the configuration, configure terminal, and let's go to the system first. In the system, same, we are going to add that 4 more important command here. First, let's change the hostname to vSmart, and let's first assign the vBond. It's 1.1.100.12. This time there is no local here because this is not a vBond. This is the vSmart. And the next command, let's add the organization name, an IP, and let's have the site ID. It's 100, and let's have the system IP, and that is 1.100.100.30. Okay, the four important command is added here: vBond, organization name, site ID, and system IP. And let's also set the clock time zone here. Clock time zone America Bahia, and let's exit from this and do show run. Here you can see that again we have two different interfaces, VPN 0 and VPN 512. And the VPN 0 we have Ethernet 0 here, and you can see that the VPN 0, the Ethernet 0 is connected to the switch. And let's go to this VPN 0, Ethernet 0, and first let's no shut it, and IP address is 1.1.100.13/24, and then let's set the default gateway for that without IP route command 0.0.0.0/0 with 1.1.100.1. Okay, our vSmart is also ready. Let's exit from this and commit this configuration. It's committed. Committed is completed. It means that our command was correct here. Okay, let's go to vManage. It means that it seems that the vManage is ready now. Let's go to the admin, and this time it's the second boot actually. Let me type the password that I assigned before. Okay, the vManage is ready. Let's do the same configuration for this. First to the system. Let's change the host name to vManage, and let's assign the organization name, NIP, site ID, it's 100, and system IP is 1.100.100.11, and one more command, vBond. vBond is 1.1.100.12. Okay, let's exit from this and again do show run. We can see the interfaces here, VPN 0 and ETH 0. Let's go to this and first no shut down it, and then IP address 1.1.100.11 with 24-bit mask, and exit from this, and let's go and let's assign a gateway for that. IP route 0.0.0/0 from 1.1.100.1. Okay, this is done. There is no tunnel interface also here, but in this because we are going to access this management interface from this management laptop, I need to actually configure this management VPN host. Do show run if you see that there is no port is assigned to this one, and I'm going to assign a port here, and that is the port ETH1 interface, ETH1. Make sure that you write the correct any interface name. For example, if I just write it here, the command will be accepted, but if I try to commit this, let me commit, you can see that it will give me the message. It says that this interface is not available. It's an invalid interface, and the commit will not be successful. And because of that, make sure that you type the correct name here. Let me remove this interface that I added before, and interface ETH1, and first no shutdown, and then let's assign IP address for that. IP address I'm going to use, for example, 192.168.100.1. It's okay, with 24-bit mask here, and let's exit from this one. And now our management interface is also ready. We don't need to assign any route here actually, because it's directly connected to this laptop. There we don't have any gateway. And let's commit this configuration. Okay, this time the commit was successful, and now our vManage is also ready. And make sure that we select this range of IP address. We need to assign this to the interface of Ethernet 0 of the management laptop. Let's go to that and assign this IP address to here. This one is used to connect to our network, as you saw in the last video for remote desktop. And this one I'm going to see, you see that this is just a DHCP IP address. Let me assign an IP address here to access the management interface. 192.168.100. Let me assign 2 here, and 192.168.100.1 can be gateway for this laptop. It will give me this message because we already have 2 different interfaces here, and now we have 2 different gateway actually. Okay, this connection is now we just connect the management laptop to the vManage. Let's try to ping that. If we can ping the vManage here, 192.168.100.1. yes, we can ping that. And if we can ping that, we should be able to access that interface from our browser here. It's https 192.168.100.1. Okay, we just accessed our vManage here, you can see, and let me get it down. And it's give us this the connection is not private because we don't have any certificate for this interface, this web page. Let's proceed. Okay, now we can see that we have the Cisco vManage here from version 20.7, older from 20.7. It's WebTela vManage, and in this version actually Cisco just customized this interface, and also because our vManage is still not ready, and it gives us this message that the vManage is not ready yet. And let's wait for that to become ready. And in the meantime, let me tell you that difference between the 20.7 and older is that in 20.7 in the certification option we have an option of using the enterprise certificate server for our VH. Before it was not there, and our VH just the certificate signed with the vManage actually, but in this case we have an option to select that to be signed with the vManage, or we can use the enterprise certificate server. Let's wait for that. When it become ready, I will come back and continue the installation in vManage. Okay, the vManage is ready. We can log in with username admin and the password that we assigned before. In the first interface that you can see, it will go to the monitoring page, and it will show the status of devices that is added to this vManage. By now we don't have any device that is available in the vManage, nothing, just the vManage himself, and you can see that one vManage here, and we don't have any other devices. Before starting the certification, installing the certificates for these different devices, let me do that in the next video, because this video is already 35 minutes, and I think it will be a long video. In the next video I will start the certification for this 3 controller. Okay, for now, thank you for watching, and please subscribe our channel, and follow us for the next video to installing this certificate in these 3 devices.